Okay, so we just went to see Fast and Furious Part 10. And I must say I'm a bit shell-shocked. Lots of action as you'd expect, but some really well-directed, well-acted, dramatic pieces, which I wasn't expecting in this movie.
He's coming for you with everything.
What's the plan, Dom?
I'm not sure anymore.
I think we're all a little bit hungover emotionally about Fast and Furious because of the untimely death of Paul Walker, and that affects us. But this was something else. It was a genuine, poignant moments and sentiment in the middle of Fast and Furious, which I wasn't expecting.
Laws of God and gravity. They did it twice.
So the story is Jason Momoa's rather flamboyant Dante Reims character, who's the son of a drug dealer, warlord, criminal kingpin they've defeated in a previous episode. And he rightly thinks that they stole all his money, which they did, and wrongly thinks that the Fast and Furious gang killed his father, which they didn't. And in this episode we see that he was actually killed rather cold-blooded fashion by Dwayne Johnson's character, Hobbs. And we're a little bit suspicious, actually, like why is Dante Reims not going after Hobbs as a kind of a unofficial member of the team? But at the end of the movie that's revealed. So the premise is that pain wrought on your family members, particularly if you're party to that happening, because you have to choose between something bad happening to one or the other members of your family, is worse than death. This is what Dante's father taught him, and that's what he's trying to visit on Dom. And of course, Dom's weak spot, if you like, or the source of his strength and his weakness is the family. So when they're working to attack his family, then that's his weakness. So there are twists, there are loyalty shifts, there are doubts about the commitment of various people, and there are some unlikely alliances, particularly Cypher. And we don't know exactly what's going on with some of the characters. They refer directly to Mr. Nobody being gone somewhere. So the pause being there to say that, well, they're not sure if he's dead or if he's still around. And so it's an interesting melange. Then most of the franchise favorites are there, only some of them only making short appearances like Jason Statham, and others just coming in at the end like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. But there is one ugly question, which is a big weak spot of this episode, that when the family gets together, Mia, Paul Walker's character, O'Connor's wife, joins the family, but Paul Walker, O'Connor, doesn't. And it doesn't make any logical sense. I mean, we know why he can't be there, because the poor guy's dead. But it doesn't make any sense within the story that, yeah, she will turn up and then the kid might be, the kids might be there, but he isn't. At the end of the previous episode, we see the blue, I think it's the Nissan Supra, turning up, but we don't see him getting out. We see Dom's reaction that it must be Paul Walker O'Connor arriving. So it's a big clumsy hole in the script. They're asking a lot for us to ignore it, but I think most fans will do so out of affection, loyalty for Paul Walker, but it's just a little bit jarring. It's not handled very well, and the script is weak in other areas, especially the comedy, which just doesn't work. With a couple of notable exceptions, it just doesn't work in this movie. Some of the stunts are silly, like harpooning the car with two helicopters when they could just shoot him. It doesn't make any sense, and there's a couple of other instances like that. They're kind of a weak justification for an albeit very spectacular stunt. And you find yourself saying repeatedly, well, it's a movie. And it's asking too much, but it's better than driving a car in space like last time, so whatever. It's an excuse for great stunts. Direction, apart from those nonsensical moments and the gaping hole that Paul Walker's absence creates, is great. It keeps a very fast pace. Somehow these sentimental, but not overly sentimental moments that are really quite tugging on your heart are interspaced very well with the rest of the drama and the action and the chases, etc. So overall, I think it's beyond the normal family is all you have kind of clunky dialogue, and it gets through the poor humor and it pulls together and it delivers a huge impact. The pace is done very well. So actors, Vin Diesel, same character, unflappable except when his family is involved. John Cena playing Jacob, a strange pathos in his role. I guess it's because he knows, the character knows, or rather the actor knows that the character is going to die. And it works really quite well. It's like the prodigal son, because he was the one that went off the rails and came back, and now he sacrifices himself, and we feel it. Charlize Theron, it's suitably ironic as the overthrown arch baddie, now teaming up with the goodies. She does a great job. Jason Momoa is convincingly psychopathic. He's just short of OTT. I think it's a new area he wanted to explore. It's funny. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, I want to see what he's going to do in the next one. For me, the star was Leo Perry, the youngster. Acting is reacting, and I think he was amazing at the way he interacted with the other actors, particularly with Senna, and presumably CGI cars flying over his head, and his reactions to that are very authentic and genuine. He was amazing in the movie. He was the big standout for me. I can get a little bit irritated when everybody throws caution to the wind and sacrifices themselves just because of the little kid. But this guy was very endearing in a strong, vulnerable, charismatic way, and it made it entirely credible. Everybody wanted to save him. He was the standout star. And of course there's a cameo from Meadow Walker, Paul Walker's daughter, if you didn't know, playing the flight attendant who helps them escape from the plane. Of course you can't talk about Fast and Furious without talking about the cars. So there's an indestructible Dodge Charger that seems to be able to smash through concrete, jump over walls by itself, land on other cars, etc. And I love the fact that the electric car is driven by Cypher, that one of the world's most evil villain drives an electric car. I love that. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will have spotted that it's a DeLorean. And I don't know if that means that there's going to be a comeback from DeLorean, but very interesting to have that put in there. Mamoa's lavender Impala was just inspired choice. Weird, but appropriate, just perfect for him. So overall, an avalanche of experiences and emotions, trading on Paul Walker's absence. But I think, like the end of Fast and Furious 7, after Walker died, where they handled that final scene beautifully, got a lump in my throat, like so many people thinking about that scene. They handled it really well. It was enough nostalgia and sentimentality to take you there without over-the-top Disney-esque, shove it down your throat, violins kind of behavior. So I think delicate, balanced handling of the situation. They asked a lot from the audience, particularly with the ending, because you're left hanging. Most people will know that this is part one of the end. There is going to be another part which concludes everything, but you're left with the main characters facing certain death, and we don't know what Shaw is off to go and do. Hobbs is coming back. We don't know what's happening with Letty and Cypher as they board a submarine in I think it was the Arctic, or was it the Antarctic? Anyway, in a polar area. So it's asking a lot for the audience to swallow that, walk out of the theatre trying to get some sense of satisfaction out of so many loose ends, but I think they'll get it. Their audience, their viewers are intensely loyal, even without the Paul Walker side of things. So people will forgive them, will go for it. They will eagerly await the next part of the end, which might be the final episode of the full franchise. People will wait, but they have to make sure that we are rewarded. Everything's going to have to be resolved really well in a manner, say, like Avengers managed to tie all the loose ends together and finish it off and reward the audience for their loyalty. So I'll be watching it, but I'll be demanding, expecting full resolution of all the loose ends and all the subplots, etc. So not what I expected. Came out emotionally reeling, in fact, in a way I didn't expect. So I'm looking forward now. I feel I need the resolution in the second half.